So today we've come to the monastery we call Pubbarama. It's the monastery offered by the Lady Visakha, who was especially close to the Buddha and the Sangha as a whole. They say she made an adhitthana in the life of a previous Buddha to upatang, or attend on 5 different Buddhas. And Buddha Gautama, the Buddha, our Buddha, is number 4 in that list of 5. So she was already in this life as Visakha her accumulated merit, her accumulated bharami was already very great. And so she already became a Sotapanna from the age of 7. You might think a 7-year-old girl doesn't know much, but she was already a Sotapanna. She understood very well the Dhamma. And she constantly made effort to support the Sangha in different ways from the young age, always going out to put food in the monks' bowls on Bindabat and find ways to support the Sangha, to get her family and friends to listen to the Dhamma, respect the Dhamma, until she was married. And when she was married at the age of 16, she, as is traditional, was given a lot of jewellery, which she kept. And in India in those days, and probably still today, it was her wealth, and it was like something that you take as the most precious thing you have, your jewellery from your wedding. But when the time came she wanted to offer land or buy land to offer to the Buddha, she had to use this jewellery from her wedding. So that was like a real sacrifice for an Indian lady of that age. Nevertheless, for her, being a Sotapanna, it wasn't such a big decision. It was quite a natural thing to want to support the Buddha and the Sangha. So she offered this land. And the Buddha ended up spending 6 reigns in this monastery. And many important events happened here. Many teachings were given. One important thing for us as monks is this is the place where the Buddha decided to codify the Patimokkha. As we know, in the beginning there was no Patimokkha. The monks might meet and just sit in silence and meditate on Uposatha. Then later they came together in Rajkar at the Weluwanaram, which we've already visited, and the Buddha gave the Awada Patimokkha, which became a kind of brief summary of the Buddhist monks' practice and teachings. Was when he was living here that he actually agreed that the 227 precepts of the Patimokkha should be recited every fortnight. So for us as monks, we have a special link to this place. And Visakha was somebody who saw the value of the Vinaya and was very keen that the monks should keep the Vinaya, because she understood this will be the cause for Samadhi and Panya to arise. You can't have Samadhi and Panya in the Noble Eightfold Path without Sila as its foundation. So as we know, sometimes even some of the rules that we keep came from her discussions with the Buddha, such as when she saw monks bathing naked in the river and said they were indistinguishable from other sects who would walk naked, as we've seen on this trip. Some of the Jains and other sects wouldn't wear clothing at all. And she felt that wasn't appropriate for the monks, the disciples of the Buddha. So in discussion with her, the Buddha made an allowance that monks should wear a bathing cloth when bathing and never go naked. That's a dukkha offence. So she always was keen that the monks were looked after physically, always offering food and things, but also keen that they keep their rules. And they say she asked for 8 particular blessings or permissions from the Buddha. One was that she asked permission to offer food to any sick monk. And then she asked to offer food to any monk who was looking after any sick monk, because obviously the ones who look after the sick are also important. And she asked permission to offer food to any monk, incoming monk, Akanduka monk, who would be travelling tired and wouldn't know anyone. And in those days often monks received food from people they knew. But she offered to offer food to any incoming monk. And then when monks were going to leave to travel to other monasteries, other places, she asked permission to offer them food. She also asked permission to offer rains cloths to the Sangha and a number of other things. So she's very keen to support the monks in very practical, direct ways. So she was close to the Sangha, and she's also keen to bring her own relatives into the Dhamma, to have faith in the Buddha. She had one particular nephew who had come with her often to the monastery, I guess as a chaperone, but also she was hoping that he would gain faith in the Buddha. But then one time he got very ill and died, and she was stricken. She was a Sotapanna, but she still had emotions. She still had attachment to the body, so she was crying and very upset. And she went to the Buddha, not knowing how to cope with this emotionally and how to reflect on this fact that this nephew she'd been trying to teach the Dhamma to and bring into the Dhamma had died on her. And the Buddha said, well, this is just the normal way of life. Look how much suffering you have, with this one person you're attached to. This is the suffering of attachment. You've got to see this. And he kind of laid a little trap for her. He said, would you have liked to have 100 nephews like this? And she said, yeah, of course. He was a really good nephew. He followed me everywhere. He respected the Dhamma, went to the temple with me regularly. And the Buddha said, well, if you had 100 nephews, you'd have 100 times this amount of suffering if they all died. And for her, that must have been a moment of insight, because she sort of got it, that whoever you attach to, whoever you love, will also bring you suffering. So there's many good stories, teachings the Buddha gave in this monastery to her and to others. So it's a place we can feel happy to have the chance to come and visit and meditate today. So for the next period, we can now meditate together.